From a very young age, I was always considered as the golden boy in my family. I was the kid who always I was the good kid, the kid who does the right things, who listens to his elders, who's very respectful, follow the rules. At school, I did very well, and from a very young age, I got used to being praised, for all of my achievements, being first in my class, I'll get the cheers and, just being an overall good kid. And that quickly went to my head, so I was so used to being praised. So when I start experiencing failure, which is inevitable, at a young age, when I maybe fail something in class or I perform less than good, it will hit me really, really hard because I'm so used to succeeding. So whenever I start failing at something, I just really, really took it hard. I started beating myself over the head like, I am worthless, useless. Even though the people around me were still cheering me on, for me, it wasn't enough. It's like, no. You shouldn't be cheering me on. I failed, because people will always tell me that, people will look at me and with that look of, that look of when someone gives you that says, I see great potential in you, like you're going to grow up to be you're going to do well in life when you become an adult. People will tell me that and I will not believe them. I just wouldn't believe them because I am failing. I'm not the best in my class anymore. There's other kids who are better than me. So I'm not a very competitive person. But when it came to my, no, maybe I am, because when it came to my academics, that's where I felt a bit competitive. But it was only in that, like other things like sports or whatever. Okay, I'm not into sports, but I'm trying to say that I only ever felt the need to be competitive when it came to my academics. So yeah, that really, really started bothering me. The fact that there are other people who are actually good. I'm not the only one. I'm not the center of the world. There's a period in I think this happens to a lot of people where there's a period in a child's life where they come to realize, oh, wait a minute, it's not all about me. It's not all about me. The other people in the world, I'm just a tiny speck. So yeah, that took a while for me to come to terms with as a child. But even though I grew up and I grew out of that, there's still remnants of those feelings that lingers with me even to this day, where I feel the need to be at the top of my game, to always be succeeding. And whenever I fail at something, I have to remind myself, like, hey, listen, as an adult, I have to remind myself, listen, failure is inevitable. It happens. It happens to everyone. Now, as an artist, failing at maybe trying to create a good illustration, it doesn't come out right. Oh man, it is devastating, especially in the early stages when I started taking drawing seriously. Like, I have all these expectations on myself, and when I fail to create an illustration that I had this image in my brain that that this is how whatever I'm going to create is going to come out. This is how I want it to come out. And then I look at the end results. I'm like, oh no, the proportions are off. The anatomy is a bit wonky. and man, I will just feel terribly. And I think this goes for a lot of artists. I think a lot of artists, we tend to be very, very hard on ourselves. And yeah, we really for a lot of us, we set ourselves up for disappointment. And I think that's the wrong approach to take. I think when we do something, expecting disappointment can be a good approach, I think. Expecting that, hey, listen, yeah, I am drawing, I'm creating things, but I must also expect that a lot of the stuff that I'm going to create, I'm not going to be that great, and that's okay. And that's okay. That's part of the learning journey. We are learning, we're trying to become better artists. So it's part of the learning journey, failing at something is part of it. It's part of it. And you can learn from that, because I'm sure we've all experienced this, where you attempt, like if I look at, I'm trying to come up with a good example of what I'm trying to say. If I look at something that, let's say I make a copy of something, a master study of something, right? I can look at it and I can draw it and it looks cool. But if I try to say, okay, now let me try to draw what I saw instead of looking at it, right? Just try to remember it, try to draw it from memory. And I start to realize, I'm making a mistake, right? I look at the end results, I'm like, okay, this is not as good. This is not good compared to the copy that I made when I was just looking at the illustration. But if you take that drawing that didn't come out right and you compare it to what you were trying to recall, and you look at all the mistakes you made, it's like, okay, this is where I went wrong, this is where I went wrong. And then you go back to it again and you try it again. You find that you actually learn some stuff. You learn some stuff from trying something and failing at it, and trying it again and failing at it. You learn quite a bit. Struggling with something, once you get it, it just clicks. It really just clicks, rather than you just copying something or being fed some information. It's only when you struggle to understand that information. The moment it clicks, it stays with you. It really does stay with you, So that's the power of learning from failure, learning from mistakes. And this doesn't just go for art as well. It goes for everything you do in life. If you struggle through it and you just keep coming back, doing some research, trying to understand why you went wrong, once that thing clicks, it stays with you. So that is the power of learning from failure. So I think we should try to embrace failure as artists. It's not an easy thing to do. I know it really isn't, and I know that it can be very debilitating when you make an attempt to create something that comes out as a bit generic or mediocre or whatever. But I think we should try to have a little bit of grace, on ourselves. Just be a little bit easier on ourselves, because another contributing factor of why failure tends to really, really, really bring us down is comparison. Because you have all these amazing artists online that you look up to, and I want to create on the level that they are. And whenever I fail to do that, because I always fail to do that, making that comparison can really bring me down. So the idea is not to look at these art gods as a stick to beat yourself over, but as inspiration. Say, man, this is what I aspire to become. And the more I fail, the more I make all of these attempts, the more I practice, I'm inching a little bit closer and closer to that level of mastery, So just look at it as a journey. I think we should look at it as a journey of, this journey involves a lot of failing until you until you get to where you want to get, and the approach that I try to take is, and this might sound a little bit weird to say, but my approach really is lower expectations. Try to have lower expectations to my creations, or rather to the outcome of what I'm going to be creating. Which sounds, I mean, it's not I'm saying this, but it's not an easy thing to do, because I expect a lot, because I want to create good art, But what I'm saying when I say lower expectation, I just mean that I strive for excellence. I strive to create amazing things. That's what I strive to. But also at the same time, I expect to not succeed. I expect to not succeed most of the time. It's like, I want to succeed, but there's that expectation, like, you remember, there's a high possibility that whatever it is you're doing, you might not achieve it, and that's okay. I want to achieve it, but I will learn something, and then from that exercise, I will become better, So that's what I mean when I say lower expectation. Maybe saying lower expectation is not the right phrase, but I should rather just say, just expect that things might not turn out as well as you expect, or rather as well as you would like. So, yeah, failure is part of the journey, you learn from it, and it is like I said, it's part of the journey, and I think it's something that we should try to embrace more. Again, this is not an easy thing to do, and when you feel bad for failing, that's also normal. It's also normal to feel bad, but just try your best to remind yourself that this is part of the journey, and I think that can make things a little easier. This is something that I'm constantly struggling with, as a lot of us. I'm not saying I have it figured out. I definitely don't. But I think these points that I just made might be a good way for some of you to look at how you handle failure, and just try to give yourself a little bit of grace. So that's all I want to talk about today. And thank you for checking out my video, and I will catch you on the next one. Cheers.